Typically, when you're told that a game you loved is being rebooted, remastered, remade, or reimagined, the feelings involved can be incredibly varied. You might be worried or upset, you might be excited and hyped up. More often than not, the response you might have is, "I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm certain they'll mess it up somehow." As an example, if you're a Spyro fan, you might be experiencing this right now. Hopefully, you'll have a reason to say thank you for releasing this, but knowing that there is a real possibility that this new version might be significantly worse. And because it's the new version, everyone will associate your favorite game with that worse version. Back in the mid-90s, there was a game studio called Bullfrog Productions, a small company with a few successful titles from Populous to Dungeon Keeper, started by Les Edgar and Peter Molyneux. If you don't know Molyneux, he's one of the most polarizing figures in gaming, considered by many to be a near con artist, known for wildly exaggerating the scope and systems of his games and then underperforming. Edgar, on the other hand, will be known today to automotive fans. He's the chairman of TVR and produces specialty enthusiast sports cars. It's important to remember that Bullfrog was, at this time, considered to be one of the best gaming companies. Similar to pre-Activision Blizzard, today's Naughty Dog, or the reputation that THQ Nordic is currently building, Bullfrog was known as a company that produced good games. Bullfrog decided to create a game called Theme Park, a business management simulation title in the tycoon genre. It came out around the same time as Sim Tower and Chris Sawyer's Transport Tycoon, and continued the tradition solidified by Sid Meier's Railroad Tycoon. These games are based around business, primarily how to make money in a simulated world. The entire idea became popular with Lemonade Stand on the Apple II, and Molyneux felt that he could really create something unique by focusing on theme parks. Two employees at Bullfrog, Mark Webley and Gary Carr, started working on a new title in the same universe, the Theme universe, called Theme Hospital, which was released in 1997 and continues to be one of the highest rated, most popular, and well-regarded tycoon games yet released. After the release of Theme Hospital, Bullfrog was acquired by EA and shut down, and Webley joined Molyneux to form Lionhead Studios. Carr went off and joined Muckyfoot Productions, but they both continued to produce games where you controlled little people, moving them around at your whim to achieve some sort of goal, usually money, but not always. Webley and Lionhead would work on Fable and Black and White, and you can see the theme universe DNA in those games. Carr would work on Startopia, and you can absolutely see the Theme Hospital influences in that game. Eventually, Carr would join Webley at Lionhead, and as you might expect, they produced a tycoon game called The Movies. Without a doubt, the influential string is obvious throughout the production of both of their careers. So it was no surprise that when they left Lionhead, they would come together to create a company that would aim to produce Theme Hospital again, and that's exactly what they did. 2 Point Hospital was released just over a week ago, and without being dismissive, and probably without surprising anyone at all, it is Theme Hospital. As much as Webley and Carr try to carefully distance themselves from calling it a spiritual successor, it very much is. All of the comedy, the humor of the ailments, all of the features and functionality, and much of the structure of Theme Hospital is present also in 2 Point Hospital. It is certainly more advanced, more polished, but it's still very much the same. In fact, you could consider it a perfect version of Theme Hospital, as it includes much of the features that were intended for the 1997 game. Multiplayer involving asynchronous challenges, multiple hospitals in a single region, and also the intent to produce multiple games in the same universe. Gary Carr told PC Gamer, "This isn't just us doing a reimagined version in the same theme, this is one of many simulation themes that we're going to put in our 2 Point County, which is the world we set our game in. We're planning more than just this, we've got a plan to do more ideas that kind of interweave together." See, the idea is that 2 Point Hospital will lead to 2 Point Prison and 2 Point Resort, becoming an umbrella brand over the entirety of 2 Point Studios, similar again to the original Tycoon games, Maxis Sim games. Considering they intend to add DLC and modding capabilities, perhaps it is better compared today to Colossal Order's Cities franchise with Cities in Motion and Cities Skyline. The fact that this is a remake of Theme Hospital isn't a bad thing by any means. The game is fun and engaging, it's still charming, and even if it doesn't particularly have any challenge to it, the core gameplay loop is as strong today as it was 20 years ago. Adding in the ability to go back to older hospitals and improve them with new technologies, new research, and better techniques is a welcome addition that helps you feel like you're slowly building up a portfolio of successful hospitals, really filling that need for a business aspect of the game. The gameplay itself is no different, however, and whether you'll enjoy that or not is highly dependent on whether or not you enjoy these types of management simulators. While 2 Point adds in some nice quality of life upgrades, such as the ability to effortlessly pick up and move a room, you're still going to spend a lot of time in fast forward waiting for money to accumulate, goals to be achieved, or staff to be trained. You'll often go from positive to negative cash flow and back again with very little that you can actually do to change that, though almost inevitably you will make money over time. If I were to have a personal gripe, it's that simply setting your prices 10% higher will lead your customers to revolt, whereas setting it 10% lower means you cannot possibly produce enough revenue to survive, and therefore all of the micromanagement is essentially worthless. Should you promote someone? Yes, without thought. They are instantly better and produce more revenue faster, and therefore will make up those losses easily. Should you give someone a raise? Yes, without thought. They are instantly happier, and in million-dollar payrolls, $3,000 makes little difference. In fact, it was my experience that I should, in all cases, keep my workers at base pay, and once a year around the annual awards, I would go check to see if anyone was demanding a pay raise, give them the raise, and then ignore them until they threatened to quit. You see, much despite the fact that they wanted to introduce character to the individuals, there's a pervasive sameness throughout the game that is impossible to ignore. Doctors, nurses, patients, none of them are memorable. The most you might care about an individual is during training, when you'll decide to aim for maximum level 5 classes on as many people as possible. Even in that case, however, it's not something where you'll look at their name or remember who they are. You'll train them up, make sure they are assigned to the job, and then ignore them forever. Similarly, the hospitals themselves provide little in terms of individuality. Each hospital looks basically the same, with some minor layout differences, and various unlockable extensions to the hospital grounds. The game builds on the challenges fairly well, introducing new mechanics once per level, but then it tends to hold on to those for a long period of time. As an example, you are trained to add heating to levels in cold temperatures, and this is a feature that is reasonably important for a single level. Then it's just another thing that rooms require you to add when you're building, and you stop thinking about it or caring about it. A few levels choose to add interesting twists, which really do change the way you play, and I was disappointed that I didn't see more of that. For example, a level where you run a training hospital and are required to hire untrained, unskilled doctors and nurses and then train them up to fill the roles you need. This, of course, trains you as the player to focus on training and how it works, and it was a challenging level that was really difficult, super engaging, and just overall fantastic to play. This problem isn't something new to 2 Point Hospital, it's something inherent in its genetics. Theme Hospital had, unsurprisingly, some of the exact same problems, and so did the movies. Startopia's best moments were building a successful space station prison, a level that to this day I felt was one of the best I've ever played in a tycoon. And yet it failed miserably when you had no direction or restrictive goals. It was too open, too easy. Some of the levels in 2 Point feel that way. They are too easy, too open, too much is given to you. There's rarely a moment when you have to weigh a difficult decision. Deciding to increase wait times by removing a room so you can service a new type of ailment, or sending sick people home to keep current patients happy. You don't do that, because you just wait for the money to come in to buy a new plot of land and then expand out. There's only a small amount of finding that perfect ratio of bed to changing room so that you can eke out the highest efficacy, because you know that if it gets really crowded, you can open a new building and make the whole thing a ward. 2 Point is the culmination of 2 decades of history from multiple studios and intersecting with personalities that have affected gaming on industry levels. It's a lovingly crafted homage to a game that was beloved at the time and represents a pinnacle of achievement in the tycoon genre for many, many people. To this day, Theme Hospital is fondly remembered by so many people, and this is made for them. That person who still has Theme Hospital installed, and not because they got it for free on Origin. That person is loving 2 Point. It is nostalgia, refined and cleaned up. It is exactly what many people wish we could see for our own favorites from when we were kids. The same game, but slightly better. Have you played 2 Point Hospital? Is it on your wish list? Did you play Theme Hospital? I'd love to know your opinion on this new iteration. If you haven't picked it up, is it in your wish list, or are you just not a big fan of these games? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, please consider sharing it with your friends on Twitter. If you didn't, then don't, but if you did, you can watch another one in the corner right now, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.